council chamber of the Galactic Academy fell silent as Anna strode through the crystalline doors, her boots echoing sharply against the obsidian floor. In her arms, she carried a mesh bag that clinked in a way that made even the battle-hardened Kryn representatives flinch. Commander Bossid stood rigid at the defense podium, his jaw tight as he watched his fellow cadet approach. He had been told that Anna was dead. The 10 Velroy hunters had been dispatched 3 cycles ago to the abandoned moon of Theta 9, where Anna had been conducting her survival examination. The Velroy were apex predators from the scorched rim, each standing 9 feet tall with exoskeletons harder than reinforced steel and neural reflexes that could outmatch most species' combat computers. The hearing had been convened to determine whether humanity deserved continued membership in the Galactic Coalition. The accusation: humans were too fragile, too primitive, too soft for the realities of interstellar conflict. Anna stopped before the semicircular tribunal. Without ceremony, she appended the bag. 10 skulls clattered across the platform, each bearing the distinctive crest ridges of the Velroy warrior caste. The chamber erupted into chaos. Impossible. The lead prosecutor, a Velroy matriarch named Sratha, rose from her seat, her mandibles clicking rapidly in distress. My hunters were equipped with plasma rifles, optical camouflage, and pheromone trackers. This human child had nothing but a survival kit. Anna's expression remained neutral, though Bossid noticed the faint tremor in her hands. She had spent 3 weeks alone on that moon, hunted. He had spent every moment of those weeks fighting bureaucracy to mount a rescue mission, only to be blocked at every turn by officials claiming it would interfere with the assessment process. Now he understood this had never been about assessment. Anna's voice cut through the commotion like a blade through silk. I believe there's been a misunderstanding about human fragility. The High Arbiter, an ancient being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with calming amber light. Cadet Anna of Earth, you stand accused of murdering 10 Velroy citizens. How do you answer? Self-defense, Anna replied simply. They hunted me for sport. I merely proved I was the wrong prey. Sratha's scales rippled with indignation. You dare. I dare because I earned the right, Anna interrupted, her voice hardening. Your first hunter found me on day 3. He announced himself, declaring humanity's trial by survival a fiction, that I was to be his trophy. He gave me a 30-minute head start to make it sporting. She held up one of the skulls, showing a fracture line from crown to jaw. I collapsed a cave entrance on him. His armor was strong, but granite obeys impartial mathematics. Bossid felt a surge of pride despite the gravity of the situation. That was Anna. Practical, resourceful, and utterly terrifying when cornered. The second and third came together, Anna continued, her voice distant. They had thermal scanners, so I waited beneath the frozen lake. Hypothermia would have killed me in minutes, but I only needed seconds. When they stood over the hole, searching for my heat signature, I came up through the ice behind them. Velroy can't swim. I made sure they couldn't learn. The chamber had gone deathly quiet. Even the prosecutor seemed frozen, unable to reconcile the slight human before them with the efficient killer she described. The 4th through 7th were more cautious, Anna said. They worked as a pack using coordinated tactics, professional. I set down another skull, scorched black, but they relied too heavily on their technology. I used the battery from my emergency beacon to create an electromagnetic pulse. Primitive, yes, but effective. Without their systems, they were just large targets in the dark. And you killed them in darkness? The High Arbiter asked, genuinely curious. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, Arbiter. We don't need light to track wounded prey. We need patience, Anna replied, her eyes holding a cold fire. I followed them for 2 days, waited until exhaustion made them sloppy, and used their own weapons against them. Bossid wanted to stop her, but he knew she needed this, needed them to understand. The 8th tried to negotiate, Anna said, her voice softening. He offered to let me live if I surrendered. I almost believed him. She held up a skull with a shattered jaw. But I remembered what Bossid taught me. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. This hadn't been an isolated incident. The 9th and 10th were the matriarch's own offspring, Anna said, looking directly at Sratha. They were skilled, I'll grant them that. They nearly had me, but they made one critical mistake. They assumed I would run. And you didn't? The Arbiter asked. No, Anna replied, her voice hard as diamond. Humans don't just run. We invented marathon running. We invented the chase that never ends. But we also invented the ambush, the last stand, the not one step back. When those two hunters thought they had me cornered, I showed them what a human does when there's no retreat. She placed the final two skulls on the platform with careful reverence. I made it quick. Despite everything, they were just following orders. Sratha lunged forward but was restrained by energy barriers. You murdered my children? No. Basid spoke for the first time, his voice ringing with authority. You murdered them when you sent them to kill an unarmed cadet. Anna simply refused to die quietly. The High Arbiter pulsed with brilliant white light. This council finds Cadet Anna not guilty of murder. Furthermore, we find evidence of systematic abuse of the assessment process by certain parties. The light focused on Sratha. An investigation will be opened immediately. As the session dissolved into arguments and accusations, Basid finally reached Anna. She looked up at him, and for the first time he saw past the hardened survivor to the frightened young woman beneath. I didn't want to kill them, she whispered. I know, Basid said gently. But you wanted to live more. That's not weakness, Anna. That's the most human thing there is. They walked out of the chamber together, leaving the 10 skulls as a grim reminder. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity might be young, might be fragile in some ways, but they possessed something far more dangerous than strength. They possessed an absolute refusal to give up. And in the end, that made all the difference. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.